Okay, so here's one that I've already done. Turn the light box on if I can, so you can see. So what I did was, again, I put the isodose chart on this part of the anatomy, and I chose to do 3 segments on this side. I left off that segment because it's so small. So I did this segment and that segment using the grid lines, and then I added a sub-segment. Took my ruler and measured each of the segments and multiplied those amounts by 0.67. So over here in the margin, you can see my segment number 1. I measured at 1.3 cm, multiplied that by 0.67 and got 0.871, and did the same for the other segments. So along the grid lines then, that I put the dashed line down, I'm going to measure from the old isodose line down. For example, for down segment number 1 is 90% isodose line. I should measure from here down 0.871, and I put a tick mark there. For the 80% isodose line, from here down, and put a tick mark there. Now the reason I'm going downward is because there's no tissue here. So the dose lines over on the side where there's no tissue are going to be shifted downward because absorption wouldn't happen until later. If I had extra tissue over here, dose lines would actually shift upward. Okay, so I did the same for each one of the segments. Put the grid lines. Okay, so then what happens next is I have to connect the new line for the 90% isodose line. So for 90% isodose line, starts here, and when you get to missing tissue, it actually would dip down this way. And the same for the 80% isodose line. Notice I'm connecting this to the dash lines, and same for the 70% isodose line. So really, instead of seeing a flat isodose line with this missing tissue, this is what we see. So what I did was I just overlaid another sheet of paper, redrew my contour, made new lines to represent the 90, 80, 70, 60, and so forth lines. And this would be a more accurate representation of what the isodose lines would look like through this area of the contour if I put the beam here at the beginning of the tissue.